You mentioned Dahang as well, as we are straight away ready for our next matchup, and we are going to be welcoming Dahang out to the stage. So we get to see the other Team Liquid member live in the flesh here in Poland, as he will make his way out ready for his opponent to come out and face him. Here he comes, Spart1e, the Swedish superstar, taking on Dahang.
Yeah.
It should be hopefully an exciting affair. Spart1e, again, recently requalified. Of course, earlier on today, he came in with a huge display. Really showed off those rockets, damn, they slap.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And there's more than slabs than just the rockets. I think one of the most impressive weapons that we saw Spart1e make use of was the railgun, right? I feel like the map that he struggled the most with was Corrupted Keep. One of his, he just didn't have the railgun and it hampered him so much. But once that map was over, he ended up doing it quite a bit better.
Oh yeah, he did look dominant. Ryan, straight off the back, I'm going to throw you into the deep end, as I like doing. I hope you've got your swimming trunks on.
Go on, mate.
Do you think is going to take this?
Dahang is hard to count out in a LAN setting when he's just very consistent. I mean, we can never forget that Dahang was one of the first Quake Champions players to actually win a duel tournament.
Yes.
Like, it was the very first DreamHack for Quake Champions. He was not on a lot of people's radar for players you think will win. Like, you'd always be, oh yeah, he'll do well. And he just dominated. You know, he had a crazy strong performance. And it was due to his innovative nature.
Yeah.
And I said this before, and I'll say it again, especially because it's LAN, just in case anyone new might be tuning in. Dahang is a player that innovates mostly champions in particular. Like, if he feels that something is good and strong, he's not afraid to go against the grain. And while that may not be as prominent at the moment, there's obviously very much an established meta, I think, right now, where there's not many curveball picks you can go for, but it's just his mind. It's how his mind works, that he's very independent thinking in that regard.
Oh yeah, and we can actually take a bit of a more in-depth look as well. These are the results from Stage 2's online season. Flea, 2 losses throughout the entire thing. That's pretty damn impressive.
I mean, there's very few people with stats as good as Dahang's. The only 2 people he went down against are Rafa, of course, but then also Saigib. And I think that Saigib is one of the players that Saigib also beat him at QuakeCon, if I remember correctly.
Yes, he did.
Saigib and Dahang, I think they're kind of both vying for that number 2 spot in NA. So far, it's still quite clearly in Dahang's hands, but very often when the 2 of those go up against each other, it's closer than you'd expect, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. Now, Dahang coming in, facing off versus Spart1e. Obviously, the difference is it's going to be a bit more of an interesting matchup purely because, again, coming straight back in, different regions. This is where it's not really going to be as common as a domestic matchup. So what we've seen from the online season doesn't translate here as well as possible. Do you think he's going to be ready for this, or potentially Spart1e could catch him off guard?
Spart1e could definitely catch him off guard, I think. I don't know how this is going to go, but especially because Dahang hasn't played Spart1e in a long time, right? Obviously. And Spart1e himself, he managed to get his way back into the Quake Pro League. He's obviously been practicing a fair bit off stream, off cam, where no one saw the innovations that he put into play. So I really do think that Spart1e could potentially surprise his opponent.
Spart1e has become very much like an underdog of this tournament. We have to kind of just look at how Quake Pro League has panned out for him, where he had a very rocky road in Stage 1. He was relegated, unfortunately, and that was kind of like his journey. It's only now recently he's come back and he's been able to make his way back into the Pro League. That's pretty much his best result he's had so far, is simply getting back into it. If he defeats Dahang here, this kind of automatically becomes the best he's done.
Oh yeah.
Quake Pro League, which is kind of like a starting point for him. With that in mind, though, you almost feel like there's less emphasis on him, there's less eyes on him. And sometimes when there's a player that knows, like, hey, look, I'm here and I'm just going to do my thing. Maybe I've got nothing to prove to you. You can be more free flow. You can just believe in your own decisions, like overthinking it too much and all that good stuff. So I think Spart1e is one of the biggest sleeper hits.
There's no pressure on him, right? Technically, his back is against the wall. He can just come out here and start swinging. We do have the picks and bans as well. So let's see if that is actually going to affect this best of 3 series.
Yes.
Yeah.
We see the Strogan Pika from Dahang.
And again,
lovely little treat for us there.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're also getting Nyx on Blood Covenant once again. So far, we've seen some really good things come out of that. going up against the Ranger. So both champions pretty mobile, especially on a map like Black Covenant, where you've got a lot of open areas to use your movement abilities effectively on. And then Molten follows the Strog. Dahang, as Ketchup mentioned earlier, he was one of the first to popularize the champion, right? No one else was really playing Strog and Peeker, and so out of nowhere, Dahang realized, like, hey, you know what? You can make this champion work in duel, and he just made it happen.
The true grandpappy of Strog.
It's just, and this was before, worth mentioning as well, that his innovation of Strog was before Strog became a crouch slider.
Yes.
Which was, if that was, granted, not as relevant now, it was the days of 2v2, but it was just this lethal thing where, like, unless you'd fought Dahang Strog, you hadn't fought Strog. And that has kind of translated into duel, where what separated, especially early on, what separates Dahang from a lot of the other Strog players is just his use of Peeker.
Oh, yes.
He really was kind of like ahead of the curve in that respect. But Spart1e here, I mean, he is a highly intelligent player. He has always had a dangerous Galena because of that. When he's had Galena, he's done, well, historically quite well with the champion, so I think that's a good pick for him. But yeah, but it's just what we can expect this to go. It's one of the hardest to call, in my opinion, honestly.
Yeah. But, if I had to force you both to give me a scoreline prediction in the series, what would you say, Flea?
I mean, I like Spart1e. I want them to bring the party, but I do think that it's probably going to go towards Dahang. I would say 2-1 for Dahang.
Okay, Ryan?
I can just go by what I've seen previously. If we're going by purely what we've seen in Quake Pro League, in a LAN setting as well, Dahang has just kind of had that better performance across the board. I feel like it has a good chance of being a 2-1, granted, but I do think Dahang has the edge here.
Well, let's find out. Dahang is going to be taking on Spart1e. Will the Team Liquid player wash over him, or will the Swedish superstar come in fresh after having his Buller this morning? We'll find out as we delve into this game. A fantastic best-of-3 series is hopefully coming your way, boys.
Looks like we're getting stuck in another close quarters encounter as we've grown to get used to this throughout the course of the day.
Yep.
Which is actually not that at all. It's close quarters down here, but it's not the map. I was half right the second we were down there.
I was a little surprised right there, but nevertheless, starting this one off on Dahang's point of view. So he's got the Nyx, and Nyx in capable hands is one of the absolute strongest champions you'll see on this map, rather. So many neat little jumps you can do, so many hourglasses to collect and keep yourself up and running.
Well, we've seen this exact champion matchup today. It was Hron versus Buckster. Did go in the favor of Hron, just the unique elements that Nyx brings to the table on a map like this. We've seen the damage that can be done, but Dahang plays a little bit differently. It's been said so many times, he's just a master of timing. It's what he crafts his entire game around.
Yeah. Missing the rail there to open things up. Spart1e keeping his distance successfully, but oh no, those railguns. Yep, 1, 2, one more will do it. Spart1e does break away, but he's still looking weak. Rocket jumping all the way back up, needs 2 rockets. I think he's finally got himself a railgun now too. Split between the items, perfectly identical timings. And Dahang looking for his prey. That's a bad rocket to take though, and a good rail to follow it up with. Dahang knows he's gotta pop the Ghost Walk to get out of there. And look at how far he got. Man, that's not something you see every day, but now he's stuck in the corner. Spart1e getting the first frag. Oh, what?
Oh my god, the combos!
We have seen that time and time again, but the instant kill, that's something you see almost never. My goodness.
That's not how you want to start a map, though.
Oh,
Being
no.
2 frags down in that fashion. Now Spart1e taking the lead here. And we'll see if Dahang can get going. But, yeah, just running past now. Just take this as a moment to disengage. I want to say, too, like, the escape looked really good from Dahang, but Spart1e was ready for the angle.
Yeah.
He chased that down almost immediately. Look, there's a bunch of uncontested damage. Should be a frag in Dahang's favor, and it will be. Some minimal damage coming out from those rockets.
Yeah.
Dahang a little bit weak, though. He has to focus on just trying to stay alive for the meantime.
I mean, it wasn't a bad push, but Dahang definitely got lucky right there. The rockets that Spart1e was shooting his way, that could have been so much worse, and I was almost expecting him having to use the Ghost Walk to get out of there, but Spart1e just completely whiffed so many shots that it allowed Dahang to get himself on the board as well.
Yeah, it's one of those classic cases where the fight, in theory, really should have been his. It's just Spart1e just didn't quite get what he was going for, which is, oh yeah, okay, there's an angle. Ooh, back-to-back rail, and now Spart1e's definitely railable. Not going to be so much anymore, but he's still like vulnerable. Get hit by one of those single rails. Spart1e relocates, but he gets hit by the rail all the same, and the super shotgun has other plans for you. Sit down, 2-2 now with Dahang, able to even things up, and he gets the perfect rail. He needs to try and hit at least one more here, though. Yeah, doesn't quite get the exit. Spart1e with no armor. Every time you rail someone with no armor, it just feels so good. Shutting them down a bit. And Spart1e, he needs that armor, but he doesn't want to run in too obviously. You know, it's so easy sometimes to just look at a pickup and go, I really want it, and I want it now.
Yeah. Big part of Spart1e's strategy right now will have to be forcing out that Ghost Walk, because you can almost never kill Nyx when she's got the Ghost Walk active, rather. So you really have got to put out a good amount of damage so that she's forced to use it, and then you get a good read. So this isn't easy at all for Spart1e. Out comes the orb, and that's actually a very clean getaway. Dahang not looking at the exit at all, and then Spart1e all of a sudden, before you know it, you blink and he's gone.
A little bit of defensive play coming out from Spart1e. Hitting the angle, some excellent damage actually on the rocket. Ghost Walk to open! Spart1e missing the shot has made him very weak indeed. Even now, he picked up one of the small health bubbles, but at this point, who cares? And even with those pickups, there's not a lot to work with. Spart1e just trying to deny the Mega as much as he can. Pretty decent delay actually in between the two of them, so Heavy likely to be kind of the next course of action. From this point, Dahang, he just kind of has the positional advantage. He has the high ground. He can listen out for all the different locations he wants to. He can hit those rail angles and not really have to worry too much about getting hit back, with the exception of Spart1e just getting a good vertical shot, which you can sometimes see from him. But yeah, right now he's just trying to stay a little bit undetected and just heal up first, which you definitely understand. And speaking of which, the fight, Dahang's rockets have been chunky so far. Yeah,
absolutely. Dahang's been doing most of the damage this matchup. Spart1e will be able to get himself the small armor, but he's hurting. He needs something more substantial than that. Can he land the shot again?
He just needed to breathe on him, Flea. 10 HP, come on!
That's the exact same thing as earlier when Dahang pushed him, and it was that messy rocket fight. Just Spart1e just out of nowhere just hits nothing at all, and it allows Dahang to get away with so much that he absolutely should not have been able to do.
But if you're in Dahang's shoes, you know what, that ain't your problem. It's like, if he's going to push in now, and he kind of has this information that Spart1e's been quite inconsistent with his combat, which is uncharacteristic of Spart1e, honestly, but that's Dahang knowing that, well, if I do take a fight that might be a bit risky, if he's proving to me so far that he's not quite being consistent with shots that should otherwise be a bit simple, he has less to worry about, you know, and he's not shy of hitting these rails either. The second the opening begins, Dahang is getting the damage he needs to. There should be more free stuff. Spart1e caught a little bit off guard there, but he is able to get out with his life and basically no damage taken. Kind of best case scenario for him there, really. Teleports to the orb. No escape now, though.
Yeah, but after picking up the Heavy, that was a beautiful play from Spart1e, throwing out the orb before he even gets onto the items that he can instantly just disappear off of it and get away with minimal damage taken. Now Mega is the next item to spawn, and it is Dahang, who's got the better position. Maybe this is Spart1e's opportunity to take Heavy.
I really don't think I'm ever going to get tired of watching skilled Ranger players just kill two birds with one stone like that.
Oh yeah.
Just covering one item, dire-orbing to either a better location or two items for the price of one. Spart1e getting caught in a weird position to hang. He's historically quite efficient at hitting those just, you know, no-scoped rail shots where it's just, we're at a decent range, I want to get some free damage.
Yeah, and those weren't easy angles either, right? They weren't straight down vertical, but they were still aiming at an opponent from an upwards angle, so that is not at all easy. And look at that, Dahang is just delivering the pain, but Spart1e just managing to hang on by a thread as he manages to take himself the Mega.
But once more, rather than potentially overextending, more happy to just keep Spart1e behind. There's not a huge amount of stuff on the map right now to collect, especially with this light in play. Dahang doesn't need to take it and remove his stack, but this is information. He can see two light armors and he knows that Spart1e is weak. Even if he gets the one down here, okay, how much stack is he likely to have? Maybe a default stack.
Yeah. Really good use of the orb right there. He didn't, I don't think he actually had to use it, but I mean, just throwing it up there, that just instantly told Dahang, you know, I know what you're doing. I know you're doing an aggressive Ghost Walk. I know you're trying to catch me off guard, and I can get away at a moment's notice. So really clever play from Spart1e to put himself far enough away from his opponent, but still, 2.5 minutes, he has to make a frag happen.
And Dahang fully did not think Spart1e would go on the staircase just then. He didn't even remotely look in that direction. Normally quite a scary location to get caught unless you know you've got the real estate to work with and they can't challenge. In this case, Spart1e taking the Mega, that's fine, I can go up there. I'm not at risk at all.
Nope.
Ghost Walk just about to be up. Some opening damage from Spart1e, but right now not really. He chooses to go on the aggressive though. And that should be a free meal ticket to go in and just get that heavy. However, how does he get out? The Dire Orb was used, and Dahang, he's not shy of hitting those shots, and who even needs a rail when you've got that low stack and a heavy machine gun? Dahang played that super well. Spart1e, unfortunately, put a lot of his resources into the first phase of the fight with no backup plan.
I think Spart1e might have been overusing the orb aggressively a little bit too much. It seems like almost every single fight that he comes up against Dahang, he's like, okay, I'm just gonna orb right at you and see what comes of it. But very often Dahang has got the Ghost Hawk ready, he just instantly uses that to counter, puts himself in a better position, and then Spart1e is caught out with no immediate escape route. So tricky situation to be in, and now with 1 minute 30 seconds left, Dahang definitely looking set to take map 1.
He had to be really careful there. He was only just railable with the health he was at. And with this amount of time on the clock, 1 minute 10, all Spart1e needs, with the stack there too, 1 good frag, and then 1 minute to get 1 more, definitely doable.
Yep.
Dahang needs to bide his time, waste as much as he can, put Spart1e in that really tricky position where he's his hand gets forced, becomes a little bit more obvious with how he moves, and then bam, Dahang can set up some more rails, maybe even score a bonus frag near the end. At this health though, yeah, no games played at all. Dahang knows he's weak here, cannot mess around.
Spart1e just picked up the heavy, so he's somewhere behind Dahang, trying to find him. Dahang did use the Ghost Hawk. This is an opportunity for the Swede. He's coming in aggressively, needs to land these rails, or he'd land something. Oh, and again
that's
he goes
the end.
down. Again, see, Spart1e with the inconsistent aim. This could have very easily been 4-1 for Spart1e.
There were at least 2 frags in this map that Spart1e basically had.
Yeah.
They were his frags, no two ways about it. But Dahang he's been keeping that level head all the way. At this point, there's a 1v1, but who cares? This map over. Dahang is going to score Blood Covenant versus Spart1e, and unfortunate for Spart1e, really. There's no other way to say it. It could have gone different.
It's a very well-deserved win by Dahang, of course, but it also definitely feels like Spart1e, you know, this was his to lose, right? On the other hand, because this could have easily gone the other way. There were so many of these very inconsistent fights and situations.
See some of them here.
Like, yeah, we'll see them in the replay. Like right here, the Rockets just nothing, and then out comes the orb, it does almost nothing. And again, just a lot of these situations where Spart1e.
This was the next one.
Yeah, look at this. The shotty, bam, 10 HP misses, and then just nothing comes of it.
You dare say in that fight that maybe even Dahang somewhat misjudged Spart1e's stack, because he went straight in for an LG at close range when Spart1e had a lot of stack to work with. And that was kind of like the damage that alludes that gave extra time for a couple of shotgun blasts. They just so happened to miss.
Yeah, and also right at the very end there though, Dahang down to like 40 points of health, and Spart1e also just unable to land the final shots that he would need to maybe mount a comeback, because he was in a pretty good spot to maybe again force the refrag, right? As we saw that beautiful spawn frag could have happened again, but unfortunately for him, the inconsistencies in the aim, I feel like, cost him that map.
Right, this could be, if it's a 2-0 that we see, the final map. It depends on whether Spart1e brings it in this time round. The Galena on hand. This should be Molten Falls, if memory serves me. And the Strogan Pika, it's just always a treat to watch Dahang use this champion. It's just the way he controls the Pika more than anything else. Dahang has already established that he is a very talented crouch slider in general. And then you take a champion that he kind of wrote the book on, especially with how to use Pika in duel. He really pioneered that. And we should get anyone just watching now, you're in for a treat, honestly. But at the same time, Spart1e being the smart player that he is, he's had dangerous Galena games that we've seen so far, and it's just how he manages just the constant build-up of totems. He's this brick wall sometimes.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see, because I feel like Dahang, his sliding is obviously superb, but it's the peeker, as you said, that really sets him apart from some of the other people who play straw consistently, such as Tox, for example. So this should be a very good one. We're immediately going to get a confrontation. Dahang doesn't really want to stick around, takes a rail on the exit though, but Spart1e picked up heavy, playing the Galena, so we might be looking at some hidden totems around the map. Very important for Dahang that he keeps track of those and actively tries to destroy them to stop his opponent from building up that overstack on the totem.
Dahang's kind of opening rails, they've been solid so far. There's no scope needed, it's just swap to rail, get that bonus damage immediately, disengage.
Yeah.
Force you to stop the push. And now with the stack, kind of almost like a mirror effect, just kind of opposites. If you compare the health and the armor, but both players, and here's the opening for the Pika. Now the first thing is, get rid of it. Don't want to give up too much. There's an identical split between the two items, and that's going to be quite interesting, see who values what. It looks like now Spart1e, he's not satisfied with Mega. I think he's really trying to make something happen here.
Yeah. I like that Dahang just clearly was on the lookout for the totem. He found the one hiding underneath the LG platform, so clearly he's in the right state of mind to deal with a Galena. And looks like there's going to be a little bit of an offset. Spart1e still hasn't picked up heavy. What is he doing? He's got to get it at some point. There we go. That's around... He still hasn't taken it. What?
I mean, it's going to keep a delay on there.
A huge delay. This is like 15 seconds already. He's still just rocket jumping around right there. There we go. Finally, we'll pick up the heavy. Almost waited a full cycle with that one.
Yeah. Funnily enough, the delay is only a few seconds.
Yeah.
Rather than an entire one. But in that situation, it was that kind of play where Spart1e was trying to make a play on the heavy. Knowing Dahang was there, of course, but then Dahang, he wasn't interested. They both had different ideas there, for sure. But now, Pika for the extra information. Not going to quite get that information just yet. Now, with the heavy battle spawn, Spart1e a bit too eager to just drop down and take it. Thankfully though, neither rail's really connected, so we're no better off than when we started. But it is going to mean that Dahang is happily going to take that Mega at the same time. Been quite an uneventful start to this map. There hasn't been a huge amount going on. Feels like the two players have kind of got their own game plan rather than playing around each other, because neither one wants to take a risk just yet. Yeah. Unfortunate miss for Dahang at the start right there. Spart1e had no clue that he was even approaching from that side of the map. Excellent rails coming out of Spart1e, and Dahang lost the control that he had. He might even just fade away from the Mega and leave it up for his opponent. Clearly just doesn't want to give anything away. I feel like that's probably more Spart1e who should be playing passively at the start, because when he loses a few frags and he's got a deficit and he's got to chase his opponent down, he's got essentially nothing to work with. Galena, she doesn't have any mobility abilities. She's going to be pretty slow overall. Very difficult to catch someone like Strog with. So Spart1e, above all, has to be careful not to get behind his opponent. An immediate exchange and minimal damage from Dahang. This could very well be a frag for Spart1e, but the teleporter used Dahang to disengage again. The opening damage was kind of non-existent there for Dahang, and some self-damage it looked like as well near the door frame. Could have been quite a disastrous fight. Thankfully though, he had the movement, plus he just knows going through the teleport makes him a little bit safer. But it has conceded a bit of control to Spart1e, who is just looking real chunky. Oh, hello. Hang on a minute.
Well, that's a nice surprise. I just shoot a rocket to see what's happening, and all of a sudden, and there you get it. 103 points of damage on your opponent. Dahang now definitely has the better positioning to collect himself the Mega.
You can see the overstack on his UI feed as well. It's that consequence of just having the totems ready to rock. Spart1e, he's going to get fragged here. Unfortunately, he's going to lose a totem. I do believe there is that totem on the pillar just behind Mega, and that one has remained undetected for Dahang so far, which means that as long as Spart1e is placing the totems down, they're going to be more beneficial than they would be if it was standalone.
Absolutely. That's some massive rocket damage. Silver lining for Spart1e. He did manage to at least pick up the heavy a second before he died, so Dahang will miss out on that, but still has got a huge stack advantage. Look like he will take it once again. And after a very slow start, we're now seeing some frags coming in quick succession as Dahang is 3-0 up.
And those nails, they weren't for damage, they were for information. And Spart1e, unfortunately, more than happy to oblige. Dahang now knows where to spring his attack. Heavy's about to spawn, and here it is. Spy collects it, but let's see how much it could potentially cost him. Oh, Kamikaze. 63 damage, not bad given the
Absolutely
circumstances.
Yeah, and I think Spart1e was just flailing around wildly looking for the peeker. Couldn't find it on time, so he did take a fair bit of damage. But this is the situation that I was afraid of, right? Spart1e now on the back foot, and it's going to be difficult to catch his opponent, who's so much faster than he is, 3 times over the next 5 minutes. Luckily for him, he's still got plenty of time to work with, and Dahang, absolutely out of control, is on the back foot and is looking for those small resources.
But as we've seen many times on Molten Falls, the sheer size of the map, and then you take a champion that can glide around versus a champion that can't. We can see 5 minutes of this pure runaway game of Dahang. He now knows he has a massive lead. Don't concede 100% of the control. If you can get something, fine, but if you don't need to overextend, then just let Spart1e run around. Yep. If he spots you, just get out of there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is a major land, so these players, they will do whatever it takes to win, and if that means playing a passive game style, I mean, we've seen it enough times in the past coming out of Dahang.
Oh my god, the kamikaze. Oh, the kamikaze trap. Dahang, you love to see it, the jumping down the ledge, just tempts you, tempted to go and chase it down. The moment you do, there's a peeker waiting for you.
It really is. It's like, come and get it, but hang on, Spart1e. And he's got 3 totems on the map too. Is this the turnaround point? Can he finally put himself in control? Lands a little bit of rocket damage. Won't be enough to contest for Mega right off the bat, but he will take the heavy.
It looks like there are also 2 totems that are in place that are a little bit harder to reach. I think we'd need to rocket jump to obtain them. And that essentially means that Spart1e, if they are the totems that would stay there, you could sometimes just cycle. You know, and there you go. Now he's dropped one down now to overstack himself. The Mega on demand.
No.
He has to be ready for peek around the corner. The problem is, he's not stacked. I really think he overestimated his stack after that encounter. That health just disappeared.
Dahang's rail has been phenomenal as well so far. I don't think he's used it all that often or hit that insane high % accuracy, but he's been using it effectively when it matters the most. Like right there, Spart1e pushes in and Dahang's just like, okay, you know what, 1, 2, 3, and you've got no stack left at all. So Spart1e unable to really do much right now. 3 minutes left on the clock. Desperation mode kind of starting to set in at this point.
And if you're Dahang, you know that.
Yep.
There's a 0% chance that Dahang is going to get overwhelmed here. You know he's going to be ready for these fast advances because Spart1e is running out of time, unfortunately. And he's hit some great rails himself. Like, we just saw the sequence where he hit like 3 back-to-back and some quite dodgy angles, really. But what can he get from this? Dahang, he just needs to just use the audio at this point. Listen out for it. I mean, if he's nearby and he heard it, he's got timing on this. Dahang, rare that you'll catch him without timing on something. But it's all the information. That's all the information he needs. There's a reason Spart1e has control, technically. It's because Dahang is allowing it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is just exactly what we discussed earlier, right? Dahang, he can just basically make himself disappear off the map and do exactly that, fumbling the movement, though. This is an opportunity. He got stuck on the side of the wall in the little corner, and this might actually enable Spart1e to make something happen, but he's got to do it so fast. Doesn't look like he'll be able to.
It just looks like the speed is too extreme.
Yep.
Spart1e tried to chase it down in the teleporter. And at this point, yeah, hasn't even got the time to waste in the jump pad. He has to rocket jump. And he has stack. If he hits a rail, he'll be able to whittle it down just a bit here.
If he had landed that shot, that would have been a frag. But he just, again, couldn't quite cut it. And the most important of times, the aim just failed Spart1e.
It has been unfortunate that his accuracy's been hit and miss.
Yeah.
It is, I think, the biggest drawback that we've seen across these 2 maps. Is he going to go down again? No, he does manage to finally seal it. Now we have to look at the clock. This isn't impossible, but it's going to be hard. Especially as the fact that in this fight he took loads of health. So if he goes all guns blazing and Dahang spawns near a weapon that can just delete, then, well, maybe he can even refrag.
Yeah. Over a minute left on the clock. This is so uncertain. Spart1e will find him though, but can he do anything? Rail won't connect. He knows he's got to chase, and Dahang is just waiting with the rockets. One more shot will do it. 1 point of health left. Spart1e still in it to win it. 40 seconds left.
And there's health around, and that's going to tick towards Galena's passive, giving her the totems a little bit faster than they should be. Oh no, Spart1e, he's dancing with the devil right here, but he has got a fortunate totem still available at this health. Dahang, more of a what-if shot, I think, that one coming out. More of the totems. He's nicely stacked. He really has to just go on the warpath now. He hasn't got much time left. He has to make something happen.
Oh, he's going to find him.
No, he misses the rail. Can't miss a single shot here. The LG fight comes through. Defensive rockets and the Pika. Oh, a lot of damage, maybe too much for Spart1e. He has to double back, and he has to really bet everything on maybe one rail at this point. But Dahang, he's just sitting put. What happened here?
What a sneaky play from Dahang, just looping right back around and essentially staying in the exact same position. Oh, that still was so close. But
and that was a great room, honestly, for Dahang inside, because I mean, there are ways you can go up top. There's an extra door there. Like, Spart1e was in an almost impossible situation where you just had to make the right guess, and there were so many possible guesses you had to make. In 10 seconds, like, come on.
I mean, I have to say, this could have gone the other way. This could have been a 2-0 for Spart1e, absolutely. If his aim just didn't consistently fail him at the most crucial of times, we absolutely could have seen a 2-0 for Spart1e.
That's the most heartbreaking thing about what we saw here in the upper bracket match, was just the fact that Spart1e was hitting some damn good shots on a consistent level in between the fights. But when the fights were live, when it mattered the most, that's when it fell like just short.
Yeah.
But that's where he needed it to hit.
I want to reel us back a little bit in time as well to the opening map on Blood Covenant, because I feel like for the viewers at home, if they only tuned in towards the end and saw the scoreline, they might have thought it was a completely different game from what we actually saw, because there was so many moments there where Spart1e could have actually taken the lead and got himself into a fantastic position. It was ridiculously
It was the second
tight.
frag. The second frag was the beginning of the end. It was right here. Miss, 14, 11.
Yeah.
And he was down an orb there as well, where like the idea was there, like the fight really was his. And here
again,
and here it goes for LG first. That was either not like thinking he was going to be that close, or maybe expecting him to be further away. Either way, Spart1e had so much stack in that fight that if he just hit that one extra burst, like the time it took for the fight to come out, because Dahang had the LG,
and here again
was time for a shotgun blast. Like.
Again, Dahang so low, and just Spart1e unable to finish it off time and time again. Gonna see it here several times as well. Obviously, Dahang played a very solid game. Like, look at these rockets. That was just absolutely brutal. LG looking solid as well. I do think that Molten Falls was more decisive in favor of Dahang, but still, there were a lot of opportunities for Spart1e that could have absolutely netted him the win.
What's interesting is even on Molten, right? Obviously, Dahang, the daddy of discipline, he played a very smart controlling style for the majority of the game, kept it within his pace, didn't overstep his boundaries. But around that last 2-minute mark, we saw him obviously switch that up. He gave control over towards Spart1e, was willing to take a bit of a back step, and that nearly backfired. I mean, we ended 4-3 when at one point it was a 4-1 scoreline like 8 minutes in.
It's the eternal risk you play when you play hyper defensive, when there is not a major difference between the frags.
Yeah.
You know, it's if you are willing to kind of go all the distance and shift to that hyper defensive style, all it takes is that one time for you to get caught off guard, or maybe you just miss that one rail and then the cooldown just punishes you with one. It's a bold play. You know, you have to be confident. But Dahang, I think confidence isn't really something he has troubles with. He knows what he can do, and he rarely
absolutely. And just a testament to his mechanical skill. He had 55% LG. We kind of, well, the graphic disappeared quite quickly, but 55%, that's amazing. Like, especially when you're playing against some of the champions that Spart1e picked, so impressive.
Oh yeah, he was really just vintage Dahang today, which is a fantastic sign for the rest of the tournament. It only bodes well. And what got me is, again, just the classic Pika plays. It's so useful in his hands, just as a nuisance-making tool. He completely threw off Spart1e in so many opportunities of just being able to get that extra chase off.
Yeah, completely agree.
I think it's always just a treat watching a Strog. On a pure fanboy level, which I do admit is an element to that.
You do have a poster of Dahang on your wall in your bedroom.
No, I have a poster of Strog with Dahang's face on it.
To be fair, on that bombshell, I think we're going to have to go to a break, because I need to come and see that. So get the phone out, show me the picture. In the meantime, the only picture you'll want to see is our beautiful mugs when we return after the break. For now, though, grab yourself a drink and strap in for some more Quake action after this.